I went down to Louisiana 5 days after Katrina hit to witness for myself the disastrous effects of that hurricane. Maya Angelou described it so profoundly, saying, "The land became water, and the water thought it was God." I spent no more than 10 minutes in the Superdome in New Orleans, where thousands of families had waited and waited for 5 days for help to come. Days afterward, I thought I could still smell the urine and feces mixed with the pungency of decaying flesh. I said on the air, I think we all, this country, owe these families an apology. The next day, Gayle King, who in addition to being my best friend is also O Magazine's editor-at-large, got a phone call from an irate reader canceling her subscription because Oprah has gotten too big for her britches, telling us the government needs to apologize to those people. What I know for sure is that behind every catastrophe, there are great lessons to be learned. One of the greatest? As long as we play the us and them game, we don't evolve. As people, as a nation, as a planet. Katrina gave us an opportunity to live in the space of an open heart and to show our compassion. Over the years, I've heard many people lamenting why God allows this or God allows that. Another lesson. People suffer not because of what God does, but because of what we do and not do. So much of what happened in the aftermath of Katrina was man-made, and as we all saw, there was plenty of blame to go around, but the storm also gave us a chance to see that in moments of desperation, fear, helplessness, each of us can be a rainbow of hope, doing what we can to extend ourselves in kindness and grace to one another. Because I know for sure, there is no them. There's only us. In January 2009, I appeared on the cover of O twice, 2 versions of me standing side by side, a before and after. In one image, the before, I was in good shape. In the after, I was overweight. I had the confidence to show these photos of myself because I knew I wasn't alone. An estimated 66% of American adults are either overweight or obese, and almost nobody's happy about it. That cover stirred an outpouring of emotion and avalanche of support. One of the most memorable responses I got was this email from a friend. "Here's how I see your weight. It is your smoke detector, and we're all burning up the best part of ourselves," it said. I'd never thought of it that way before, but it was a true aha moment. My weight was an indicator warning, a flashing light, blaring my disconnection from the center of myself. What I now know for sure is that for me, weight is a spiritual issue, not a food issue. Marianne Williamson struck a nerve when she sent this email. "Your weight," she said, "is really an invitation to your best life." All those years of diets doomed to fail, I thought weight was the barrier. I told myself I had a weight problem. Instead of looking at my out-of-balance existence and how I use food to repress the facts. I once co-authored a book with Bob Greene called Make the Connection. The title was his idea. Even while writing my part, which involved sharing my frustrated journal entries about being fat, I weighed 237 pounds when Bob and I met. I would often say to him, "Remind me again, what is the connection?" I did learn from Bob that my overeating wasn't about potato chips, that I needed to peel back the layers of my addiction to food and figure out what was eating me. Obviously, I hadn't peeled deeply enough. But now I know that the connection is loving, honoring, and protecting everything about yourself. Bob has often said to me, your weight is ultimately tied to your feelings of unworthiness. For years, I vehemently disagreed, saying, "Listen, Bob Greene, let me tell you one thing. I am not one of those people who think they don't deserve what they have. I've worked hard for everything I own." But as I move along this spiritual path to permanently resolving and managing the weight issue, I now see that a sense of unworthiness can come in many forms. I've been an overachiever since I was 3 years old. For years, I felt the need to show that I belonged here, the need to prove my worth. I worked hard. I got A's. I won speaking contests. I earned scholarships. I was in my mid-30s before I realized that just being born makes you worthy enough to be here. I had nothing to prove. For most of us who overeat, Extra pounds correspond to unresolved anxieties, frustrations, depressions, which all come down to fear we haven't worked through. We submerge the fear in food instead of feeling it and dealing with it. We repress it all with offerings from the fridge. If you can conquer the fear, you will fly. That's another for sure. Let your life awaken in you. Whatever your challenge, overeating, overindulging in substance or activity, the loss of a relationship, money, position, let it be an open door to your holiest revelations about yourself, an invitation to your best life. I love to watch the sun set over Maui, transforming the sky. Nature has an easier time with transformation than we earthly beings do. Evolving as a human being is a lifelong excavation process, digging deep to uncover your underlying issues. Sometimes it feels like trying to shovel through Kilimanjaro. You keep hitting rock. What I've discovered, though, rocks unattended turn into mounds and then mountains. And it is our job to do daily cleanups in our work, our family, our relationships, our finances, our health. Ignoring problems is easier for sure, but if we take even tiny steps to address them, those steps eventually become giant leaps on the journey to self-actualization. Reaching your potential as a person is more than an idea. It is the ultimate goal. The wonders we're capable of have nothing to do with the measurement of mankind, the lists of what's in and what's out, who's hot and who's not. I'm talking about the real deal here. Whose life did you touch? Who did you love? And who loved you back? This I know for sure is what matters. For me, it's the only goal worth aiming for, a transformation of consciousness that allows me to know that I am no better or worse than any other being, that I simply am. In the 3rd grade, I learned the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I love those words. I wrote them on everything and carried them around in my book satchel. Remember book satchels? I was a good deed doer. At one point, I even thought I was going to be a missionary. Every Sunday, I'd go to church, sit second pew to the right, take out a notepad, and write down everything the minister said. At school the next day, I would recite the sermon on the playground. I called it Monday morning devotion. The other 8-year-olds would see me coming and say, "Here comes that preacher girl." Back then, when the Progressive Missionary Baptist Church was trying to raise money for the poor children of Costa Rica, I started a campaign. I was going to collect more money than anyone else. I gave up my lunch money and convinced my classmates to do the same. It was all part of the principle of do unto others that I lived by. Then, in the 5th grade, I ran into some problems. There was a girl in my class who didn't like me, so I went around school talking about her. One of my friends pointed out that if I believed in doing unto others and was talking about this girl, chances are she was talking about me too. "I don't care," I replied, "because I don't like her anyway." For a long time, whenever I would say or do something that went against my better self, I would try to justify it. What I didn't understand is that all of our actions, both good and bad, come back to us. But eventually I learned that we receive from the world what we give to the world. I understand it from physics as the 3rd law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It is the essence of what Eastern philosophers call karma. In The Color Purple, the character Celie explained it to Mr. by saying, "Everything you try to do to me, already done to you." Your actions revolve around you as surely as the earth revolves around the sun. This is why when people say they're looking for happiness, I ask, what are you giving to the world? It's like the wife who once appeared on my show wondering why her relationship with her husband had broken down. She kept saying, "He used to make me so happy. He doesn't make me happy anymore." What she couldn't see was that She was the cause of her own effect. Happiness is never something you get from other people. The happiness you feel is in direct proportion to the love or happiness you're able to give. If you think something is missing in your life or you're not getting what you deserve, remember, there's no yellow brick road. You lead life. It doesn't lead you. See what comes into your life when you spend extra time with your children. Let go of your anger with your boss or coworker and see what gets returned. Be loving to yourself and others and see that love reciprocated. This rule works every time, whether or not you're aware of it. It occurs in little things, big things, and the biggest things. Today, I try to do well and be well with everyone I encounter. I make sure to use my life for goodwill because I know for sure that what I think, what I say, what I do, everything will be returned to me. And the same is true for you.